Get in the
On her
trunk
wedding
now.
morning,
I'm not
Sarah
asking.
did something no
Please
bride
don't
should ever
make me
do.
this.
She opened a car trunk and found the truth her husband-to-be had buried for years to be why the time the church doors opened. One life would be exposed, one family would be revealed, and a wedding would turn into a public
Get in the trunk
judgment.
now. I'm
This is
not
not a
asking.
love story.
Please don't
This is
make
the
me
story
do
of a
this.
lie that walked down the aisle. Hey there, pour a cup of tea, get comfy, and let your heart listen. The story's about to start. Welcome to Tales Vibe, where laughter and lessons flow together. If you love a good story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more tales every week, and please tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to know where our story family is tuning in from. Sarah woke up with a strange heaviness in her chest. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, her wedding day. She lay still for a moment, feeling the silk of her dress against her skin, thinking of Daniel. 3 years of love, laughter, and promises, all leading to this moment. She sat up, smoothing her dress over the edge of the bed. Her mother, Mrs. Johnson, was already busy downstairs, making sure everything was perfect. Sarah's father, Mr. Johnson, had left early to meet some family friends, trusting the day would go smoothly. The house felt calm, but her heart raced. A knock at the door made her jump. "Sarah, it's James," came the voice from the hallway. He had been with her family for years, loyal, careful, and someone she trusted more than anyone outside her parents. "I need to talk to you," he said, stepping inside. Sarah frowned. "Now, I have to get ready." James's expression was serious, his eyes tight. "You need to listen. Now. It's important." "What is it?" Sarah asked, confused. He hesitated, then took a deep breath. "Daniel, he's not who you think he is." Sarah laughed nervously. "James, what are you talking about? Today is my wedding. I don't have time for jokes." "This is not a joke," James said, his voice low. "You need to see something. Something he's hiding. I can't explain it here. Just trust me." Sarah's pulse quickened. Her mind refused to believe him. Daniel was kind, attentive, loving. He had never given her a reason to doubt him. "Why now? Why today?" she whispered. James moved closer. "Because today, he's going to show you the side of him you don't know. If you walk down that aisle without seeing it, you'll marry a man who isn't who you think he is." Sarah's hands tightened around her bouquet. Her chest felt heavy, almost like the truth James wanted her to know was already pressing against it. The air felt charged, full of secrets she wasn't ready to face. James pulled out a small key fob from his pocket. "The car is ready. You need to get inside. Just trust me. I can't let you see it any other way." Sarah stared at him. She wanted to argue, to say it was impossible. But the fear in his eyes, the urgency in his voice, made her pause. She realized this wasn't just about him warning her. It was about protecting her. Taking a shaky breath, Sarah nodded. "Okay, I trust you," she whispered. James pressed a button, and the car's trunk clicked open. Sarah swallowed, her mind racing with questions she didn't yet have answers for. Today was supposed to be the start of her happily ever after. But instead, it had become the morning of revelation. Her heart thudded in her chest as she stepped toward the car, ready to see the truth. Sarah's hand trembled as she stared at the open trunk. The leather smelled faintly of disinfectant, the darkness inside swallowing everything. James stood close, his expression serious but gentle. "You need to see this, Sarah. Just for a few minutes. Then you can decide what to do." Her mind raced. What could Daniel be hiding? The thought that the man she loved, the man she was supposed to marry today, might have secrets she didn't know made her stomach twist. This can't be happening, not today. James watched her carefully. "I know it's hard, but you need the truth before you walk into that church." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. She wanted to run back inside, pretend everything was normal, and ignore the feeling that had been gnawing at her for months. She wanted to trust Daniel, to believe in the promises he had made. But the urgency in James's eyes, the tension in his posture, told her this was serious. Taking a deep breath, she whispered, I can't just walk away from this. I need to know." "Then you'll see it," James said softly. "And then you'll make the choice." Her heart hammered as she climbed into the trunk. The space was tight. Her dress filled it like a cloud, pressing against her knees. Darkness closed around her, and her chest tightened. She could hear the faint sounds of the house behind her. The laughter of her mother's assistants, the rustle of flowers, the faint hum of music from the church. Everything seemed normal, but she knew it wasn't. James leaned down and whispered, "He's coming. Just listen. Hear him for yourself. Decide after." Sarah swallowed hard, trying to steady her breath. Her mind spun through memories of Daniel, the way he had held her, cared for her, promised honesty. And now all of it felt fragile, possibly built on lies. The car door opened, and she felt the slight vibration as Daniel got in. His voice, familiar and warm, floated through the darkness. "Morning, James. Ready for the big day?" Sarah's stomach churned. She recognized the voice, the cadence, the ease, but beneath it was something else, a tension she hadn't heard before. He began talking on the phone, softly, casually, but every word made her blood run cold. James's hand rested lightly on the trunk. "Listen carefully. Decide carefully. Nothing will be the same after this." Sarah's breath caught. The moment of truth had arrived. She had a choice. Walk into a wedding blind to the lies or confront reality, no matter how much it hurt. Her fingers tightened around her bouquet, and her mind cleared. "I need to know the truth," she thought. "And then I decide." The car began to move, carrying her toward a revelation that would change everything. The car moved smoothly through the streets, but inside the trunk, Sarah felt as if the world had disappeared. Darkness pressed in on her, and every sound, the subtle engine hum, the faint click of the seatbelt mechanism, even Daniel's quiet voice on the phone, felt amplified. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. James's hand rested gently near the trunk latch, a silent reminder that he was there to protect her. "Stay calm," he whispered. "Hear everything. Then act." Sarah pressed her palms against the trunk lining, trying to steady her breathing. Her mind flashed back to the life she thought she shared with Daniel. The dinners, the laughter, the promises, the whispered assurances of no secrets. And now, each memory felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter. Daniel's voice carried clearly through the trunk, soft and casual, but the words sent chills down her spine. "Yes, everything is set for today. She doesn't suspect a thing. Keep it that way," he said to someone on the other end. Sarah froze. He wasn't talking to James, he was talking to someone else. Someone part of the hidden life he had kept from her. She pressed her forehead against the cool lining, the truth beginning to burn in her chest. James's voice broke through her thoughts. "Do you see? This is what I meant. This is the man you thought you knew. Listen carefully." Sarah's stomach twisted as Daniel's voice softened with a hint of affection, almost like he was speaking to her, but the words weren't meant for her. "Just hold on. After today, everything changes. Nothing can touch us. She can't know yet." The words hit her like ice. She? Who is she? Her pulse raced, her mind spinning. Daniel had another woman, another life, and today he intended to keep it hidden while marrying her. Her hands shook, but she clenched them into fists. She felt the betrayal in every fiber of her being. The man she loved, the man she had trusted completely, had built an entire second life. And she had nearly walked into it blindly. James's voice was firm but gentle. "This is why you needed to see it yourself. Now you know, Sarah. The choice is yours." The car slowed as they approached a quiet street. The sounds of the city faded, replaced by the muffled noises of children playing in the distance. Sarah's chest tightened. She realized the enormity of what she had uncovered. Today is no longer about a wedding, she thought. It's about truth, justice, and making sure no one else gets hurt. As the car stopped, Sarah braced herself. Her hands pressed against the trunk lining once more, and she drew a shaky breath. The moment to step out, to face the hidden life Daniel had created, had arrived. The ride had ended, but the reckoning was about to begin. The car had stopped, but Sarah didn't move. Darkness wrapped around her like a shroud, her mind racing. She could hear faint footsteps outside and the distant hum of traffic, but her focus was entirely on the voice she had just overheard, the voice of the man she thought she knew. James leaned down, his eyes serious. "Sarah, you need to hear this next part. It's worse than you imagine." Her heart skipped a beat. Worse? She had just discovered Daniel had another woman, a daughter she never knew about. How could it get worse? Her phone vibrated in her dress pocket. A small thrill of fear ran through her as she answered it without looking. "Hello." It was an unknown number. A deep, controlled voice spoke immediately. "Sarah, this is Daniel. I need you to hear me, before anyone else does. Please just listen." Her stomach twisted. "How does he have this number? How does he know where I am?" "I know you're in the car," he continued. "I don't have much time. Just trust me, things aren't what they seem." Sarah's hands trembled around the phone. "What do you mean? Daniel, what is going on?" There was a pause. The faint sound of another woman's voice, soft but urgent, came through the line. "Daniel, You promised today would be different. What about us? Sarah froze. Another woman. And she recognized the tone, fear, desperation. Her chest tightened. Daniel's voice wavered, almost pleading. I have to do this. I need you to understand. After today, everything will be fine. She and I were temporary. Sarah's blood ran cold. Temporary? He wasn't just cheating. He was planning to use her trust, her family name, to shield his other life. The betrayal was deeper than she had imagined. James's hand rested lightly on the trunk. You see why you needed to hear it yourself? He whispered. Now you decide what to do. You can't ignore it anymore. Her mind raced. She thought about her parents, her wedding, the guests waiting. But more than that, she thought about herself, the woman who had trusted completely, who had believed in honesty and love. Sarah, Daniel said again, his voice breaking. Please. I'm doing this for us. You have to trust me. She swallowed hard, anger and hurt twisting inside her. Trust you, she whispered to herself, voice trembling. After everything you've hidden? A deep breath settled over her. She pressed the phone close to her ear one last time, making her decision. Today was no longer about walking down the aisle as a bride. It was about facing the truth, exposing the lies, and protecting herself. The engine hummed again as the car began to move. Sarah's hands tightened on her bouquet, her mind clear. The reckoning was coming, and she would face it head-on. The car slowed to a stop at a quiet street, ordinary and unremarkable, but Sarah's chest tightened. James glanced at her, his hand steady on the wheel. This is it, he said. Be ready. Sarah nodded, gripping the edge of the trunk lining. She pushed herself upright, her wedding dress crumpled around her knees. Every step out of the car felt heavy, but she moved carefully, keeping to the shadows. Ahead was the house James had spotted weeks earlier, small, neat, and completely ordinary. But she already knew it held the truth Daniel had hidden from her. James gave a subtle nod. I'll stay here. You go alone. Sarah's stomach twisted, but she forced herself forward. Her heels clicked softly against the pavement. She paused at the gate, took a deep breath, and then approached the front door. She could hear the faint sounds of life inside, a child's laughter, a woman speaking softly. The normalcy of it made her chest tighten even more. Her hand hovered over the doorbell, trembling. Finally, she pressed it. The chime echoed inside, and moments later, the door opened. A woman stood there, simple in a plain dress, her hair tied back. Her eyes widened slightly at the sight of Sarah, a stranger in a wedding gown, standing on her porch. Can I help you? The woman asked cautiously. Sarah's voice shook, but she forced herself to speak. My name is Sarah. I don't know how to say this, but I need to know the truth. Today is my wedding day, and I just found out something I can't ignore. The woman's expression shifted to suspicion. Who sent you? Is this some kind of joke? Sarah opened her phone and brought up photos. Daniel proposing to her, holding her hand at family events, smiling like the perfect fiancé. The woman's eyes scanned the images, and slowly, shock replaced suspicion. No, that can't be, the woman whispered. Tears filled her eyes. How could he do this to me? A little girl ran up behind her, bright-eyed and laughing. Sarah's chest sank. The realization hit hard. Daniel had a whole other life, one that had nothing to do with her. The woman, voice shaking, said, I'm Lisa. And this is our daughter. We've been together for years, but he promised a future with me when he got stable. And yet, here you are. Sarah felt her knees weaken, but she stood firm, holding on to the edge of her dress. The betrayal was raw and sharp, but seeing it all in front of her made it real. She took a deep breath. This ends today, she whispered to herself. No more lies. James's voice came softly from the car. Are you ready? Sarah looked back, nodded once, and stepped fully into the house. The confrontation she had been bracing for had begun. Sarah stepped fully into the house, her wedding dress brushing against the worn carpet. Lisa led her inside, her eyes wary but honest, and the little girl peeked from behind her mother's legs. Sarah's chest tightened. This was no longer a story of whispers or suspicion. This was real. Sit, Lisa said softly, motioning to a small couch in the living room. The little girl climbed onto her lap, clutching a stuffed toy. Sarah sat across from them, trying to steady her breathing. Every detail of Daniel's deception pressed against her mind. I don't know how to start, Sarah said, her voice trembling. I didn't know you existed. I didn't know he had a life here. Lisa shook her head slowly, her expression a mix of grief and anger. I never wanted you to find out like this. I tried to ignore it, thinking he would change. But he never did. And he never planned to. Sarah swallowed hard. I've been with him for 3 years. We planned a wedding today. I trusted him completely. And now everything feels fake. Lisa's eyes softened. He promised me stability years ago. He said we'd have a proper wedding when he was ready. But he used both of us. And now you're standing here on your wedding day, realizing he never cared about honesty with either of us. Sarah's fists clenched around her dress. Anger flared alongside heartbreak. He lied. To me, to you, to everyone around him. And he thought he could hide it. But I saw him today. I heard him. I knew I couldn't just let this happen. Lisa nodded. You saw him as I saw him. And that's why we need to act carefully. He's dangerous. He's clever. But he's not untouchable. Sarah felt a surge of determination. The folder in Lisa's hands contained proof, receipts, messages, photos. All of Daniel's lies, his secret payments, his manipulation. We have the evidence, she said firmly. It's time the truth comes out. No more hiding. Lisa handed Sarah the folder. You walk into that church with this, and you make everyone see what he really is. Not just a cheater, but a man who uses people, their love, and their trust for his own gain. Sarah took a deep breath, absorbing the gravity of what they had. This wasn't just about heartbreak, it was about exposure, justice, and reclaiming control. She met Lisa's gaze and nodded. Together, she said. Lisa smiled faintly, holding her daughter's hand. Together. Sarah stood, straightening her wrinkled dress. James's voice came from the car outside. Are you ready? She glanced once at Lisa and the little girl, then back toward the door. Her resolve solidified. Yes, she said. Let's go. As she stepped toward the exit, the weight of betrayal was still heavy, but now it was paired with clarity. Today, the wedding would not be a celebration. It would be a reckoning. Sarah stepped back from the house, the folder of evidence heavy in her hands. Inside, she had seen Daniel's secret life. The woman he hid, the little girl who carried his name, the moments he pretended didn't exist. Her chest ached, but beneath the pain, a sharp edge of determination began to form. James waited quietly at the car, giving her space. Do you have everything? He asked softly. Sarah nodded, clutching the folder tightly. I have it all. Every lie, every promise, every hidden payment and message. This proves everything. James exhaled, his eyes scanning the quiet street. You're sure you want to do this now? Sarah's gaze hardened. I can't wait. He's about to walk into a church, about to pretend everything is fine, and I can't let that happen. Not to me, not to Lisa, not to anyone else. She opened the folder again, flipping through the contents. Receipts with Daniel's handwriting, screenshots of conversations, times and dates of secret visits. Every piece confirmed what she already knew in her heart, that Daniel's life was a carefully constructed lie, and she had been blind to it. James leaned closer. This is more than proof of cheating. This is manipulation, control, even danger. He's been using your family's influence, your trust, everything to protect himself. Sarah's jaw tightened. Exactly. He's not just a liar. He's a user. And he thinks the wedding will cover it all. But today, he faces the consequences. I'll walk down that aisle, but not as a bride. As a witness. Lisa's voice came from behind Sarah. You have all the power now. He built his world on lies, but this folder gives you control. Make him see the truth in front of everyone. Sarah closed her eyes, letting the weight of the moment settle. Her anger, heartbreak, and resolve fused into one sharp clarity. This wasn't just about Daniel's betrayal. It was about protecting her family, reclaiming her life, and ensuring the man she once loved could not manipulate anyone else the way he had manipulated her. She zipped the folder and tucked it under her arm. James opened the car door. Let's go. Time to show him what honesty really looks like. Sarah climbed in, feeling the tight grip of the folder against her side. Every breath she took was calculated, every thought focused. The church awaited, filled with guests, family, and the man who had underestimated her completely. For the first time that day, Sarah felt control, not fear. She would confront Daniel, not as a victim, but as someone armed with undeniable truth. Today, the wedding would become a reckoning. And Daniel would see that no amount of charm, wealth, or manipulation could hide the truth when it had finally been found. The church doors loomed ahead, polished and bright, but Sarah's heart felt like a storm inside her chest. She adjusted her dress, holding the folder of evidence close, and took a deep breath. This wasn't about a wedding anymore. It was about exposing the truth, and there was no turning back. James walked beside her, quiet but alert. "Remember," he said softly, "you're not just walking for yourself. You're walking for Lisa, for her daughter, for anyone he's ever lied to." Sarah nodded, gripping the folder tighter. The doors opened, and a hush fell over the room. Guests turned, smiling, unaware of the storm about to enter. Her father stood at the front, pride lighting his eyes, thinking his daughter was about to marry the man she loved. Her chest tightened, but she walked steadily down the aisle, each step deliberate. Daniel stood at the altar, his tux sharp, his smile confident, unaware that his carefully constructed lies were about to unravel. When she reached the front, she stopped, keeping her eyes on him. The folder remained in her hand, weighty with truth. "Daniel," she said, voice calm but carrying through the room, "you need to hear this." His smile faltered. "Sarah, what are you?" She held up the folder. "Do you recognize this? Every lie, every secret you've kept, every life you've hidden. This proves it all. I know about Lisa. I know about your daughter. I know everything." Gasps spread through the guests. Daniel's face turned pale, his composure cracking for the first time. "Sarah, wait." "No," she interrupted, voice sharp. "Today, there's no pretending. Today, everyone sees who you really are." She turned toward the back, where Lisa stepped forward, holding her daughter's hand. The little girl's eyes were wide, innocent, and yet fully part of the truth Daniel had tried to bury. Lisa's voice was steady. "This man is my husband. This little girl is his daughter. He has hidden us from the world while planning to marry you for your family's influence." Daniel froze. The guests whispered, phones lifted, cameras clicked. The world he had tried to control in secrecy was now in plain sight. Sarah's father's expression shifted from confusion to fury. "Daniel, is this true?" he demanded. Daniel's lips quivered. I didn't want to hurt anyone." The church was silent, all eyes now fixed on Daniel, his carefully maintained image shattered. Sarah's hands rested on the folder, her grip steady, her mind clear. This wasn't her wedding anymore. It was the reckoning he had tried to avoid. Her father, Mr. Johnson, stepped forward, voice booming. "Daniel, is this true? Have you been hiding a wife and child while standing here asking my daughter to marry you?" Daniel faltered, his polished composure crumbling. I was trying to protect everyone. I didn't mean for it to." "No." Sarah's voice cut through the room, firm and sharp. "You didn't mean for it to what? Betray? Lie? Use people for your gain? We trusted you. I trusted you. And this is how you repay that." Lisa stepped forward, her daughter's hand in hers. "This is your family, Daniel. Not a game. Not something to manipulate. And today, the truth walks into this room, whether you like it or not." Daniel's face paled as Sarah opened the folder and laid the documents on the altar. Receipts, screenshots, messages, all proof of his lies, his secret payments, his manipulation. The room buzzed with whispers. Guests leaned forward, phones recording, capturing every undeniable piece of evidence. Sarah's voice rang louder, steady with authority. "He promised honesty. He promised no secrets. That was a lie. He used my family name to protect himself. He hid a life from me. From her. From everyone." She gestured to Lisa and her daughter. "And this little girl, she has a right to be known. Her mother has a right to be known. And I have a right to walk away without shame or silence." The congregation's murmurs grew louder. Daniel's hands shook. "Sarah, I love you. I swear I do. I can explain." "You love what?" Sarah interrupted, eyes burning. "You love what my family can do for you. You love the power and protection I could give you. Not me. Not Lisa. Not her daughter. You love control." A ripple of shock ran through the church. Sarah's father stared, anger and disbelief etched into his face. Daniel took a step forward, pleading, but Sarah raised a hand. "Stop. There's nothing left to say. Today, your lies have been exposed. And today, this ends." She turned to Lisa and her daughter. "Together," she whispered. Lisa nodded, eyes wet but resolute. The little girl clutched her mother's hand tightly, her innocence a silent declaration of truth. Sarah walked back down the aisle, the folder now held close, her steps confident. The wedding she had imagined was gone, but in its place was something stronger: justice, clarity, and the power of truth. Daniel was left in the center, exposed, powerless, as the world witnessed the cost of deceit. Outside the church, sunlight poured over the steps. Sarah felt the weight lift slightly from her shoulders. Today was no longer about a wedding. It was about reclaiming her life, protecting those who mattered, and proving that no lie could survive forever. The church was quiet now, the echoes of Daniel's lies still hanging in the air. Guests were whispering, some shocked, others staring in disbelief. Sarah stood beside Lisa, the little girl holding her mother's hand tightly. For the first time that day, she felt a calm that wasn't fear. It was clarity. Her father, Mr. Johnson, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Sarah, you were brave. You faced this with truth and strength." His eyes softened as he looked at Lisa and her daughter. "And you too. I see now who deserves protection and who doesn't." Sarah nodded, swallowing hard. "Thank you, Dad. But the work isn't over. There are consequences. He's left a trail of deception that touches more than just us." Lisa's voice was steady, though her eyes were wet. "We can face it together. I never wanted to compete with you or hurt you, Sarah. He created that problem. We didn't." The little girl tugged at Sarah's dress. "Are we safe now?" she asked, her voice small and trusting. Sarah knelt and smiled gently. "Yes, sweetheart. We are. And from now on, we protect each other." Outside, the press and cameras had begun to swarm, capturing the shocking revelation. But Sarah felt no panic, only resolve. She and Lisa had the proof, and with it, they could ensure Daniel's lies could no longer manipulate or endanger anyone. Back at the family home, Sarah and Lisa spread out the folder on the dining table. Receipts, messages, timelines, all evidence of Daniel's double life. "This is more than just revenge," Sarah said. "It's protection. This is how we make sure no one else is fooled. No one else is hurt." Lisa nodded. "And we rebuild. Our lives. Our families. On honesty. On truth." Days later, Daniel faced the consequences. The authorities reviewed the evidence, financial institutions investigated his hidden dealings, and the community slowly learned the extent of his manipulation. But Sarah focused on what mattered: trust, family, and the promise of a life no longer controlled by lies. Sitting on the balcony one evening, Sarah watched the city lights flicker. She thought of the wedding morning, of the trunk, of the moment she chose truth over fear. She smiled softly, Weight lifted from her chest. The betrayal had been cruel, but it had awakened her, given her clarity, and shown her the strength she had always carried inside. Lisa joined her, the little girl asleep in her arms. "We did it," Lisa whispered. Sarah nodded. "We did. And we keep doing it. For her, for us, for everyone who trusts too easily." The silence is over. Now the truth leads the way. The night was calm, but Sarah knew the ripple of their courage would continue to spread. Today, lies had been exposed. Tomorrow, life would be rebuilt on truth, strength, and the unshakable bond of women who refused to be silenced. And that's the end of today's tale. We hope it brought a smile, a thought, or a little bit of magic to your day. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to Tales Vibe for more weekly tales, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing from our story family all around the world. Until next time, keep your heart open, your imagination alive, and remember, laughter and lessons always go hand in hand. See you in the next story.